back to another episode of 24 Days of Christmas. Today what I'm going to be doing is we are going to have a bit of a coffee talk. Today I am bringing you guys my Nutcracker story time. Now I have quite a few Nutcracker stories to share with you today. So grab a blanket, sit down, get cozy, get a cup of tea, or in my case, a cup of coffee. I made myself a cinnamon dolce latte and I am not mad at it. It is really good. So I have performed many roles in Nutcracker, but none of them have ever been leads. So that is kind of not a disappointment, I guess, but it's been a journey, and I haven't really performed in very many Nutcrackers, in the sense that I haven't been doing it for years. In total, I have done, I think, 16 Nutcracker performances, if you count young people's concerts and things like that. I've done about 16 Nutcracker performances, so, which is kind of nuts. I mean, it's, no pun intended. Nutcracker is really, it's so much fun, but the funny thing is that you're not actually having that much fun, like doing stuff that's fun. You're in rehearsals for hours and hours and hours. Your toes are basically bleeding and blistered and they are aching. Your entire body is just giving out and you don't even want to be there. But I think it's the misery and that makes it fun. It's like the misery together with your friends, late night cuddles, late night chats, like totally making delirious, like it's just, you're in this like sense of deliriousness that you're just like, you know, F it, like I'm done, and all of you are like that, and so then everyone just gets a little wild and crazy. So I've got some stories to tell you guys. So the roles I've performed is a baby snowflake. In 2007, that was my first Nutcracker. Funny thing, my first Nutcracker was with the Moscow Ballet, and they came to Bakersfield. They were touring, they came to Bakersfield. My teacher was like, hey, do you want to do the Nutcracker? And at that time, my mom was like, you know, we weren't super serious about ballet and all that stuff, and my mom was like, I'm not having her perform. Well, I mean, I'd barely been in ballet for 6 months, and I was a baby snowflake. So that was really fun, and I remember, like, just being in awe of these, like, beautiful professional dancers as, you know, a 7-year-old. So I was a baby snowflake in 2007. In 2013, I was a snow maiden, so I got to do snow scene in pointe shoes. I hated that dance, and it's 3 minutes long, so snow scene was a little bit of a love-hate relationship. I was also a Garland in 2013, and it's just basically in the second act, like one of the, you know, the role was Garland, but like we were basically dressed in flower costumes. In 2014, I had the most roles. I was a lead Garland, so we had like a little part, we were in the center of the stage, and you know, I was, I think, one of the lead Garlands. And then I was an Arabian Harem, which was by far my favorite dance, except for the fact, which I will get into later, my costume basically fell apart. And then I was also a flower in 2014, and that was the last time I performed in the Nutcracker, was 2014. I was injured in 2015, I had a back injury, and I also had serious hip tendonitis, so I could not dance. I was out for 3 months. And then in 2016, I left the studio, and I haven't performed Nutcracker since. I'm gonna get into the struggles of each of these characters so that the flowers I'm going to basically share with you the struggles of each role, because that's where the funny stories come in. So in 2007, when I was a baby snowflake, the struggle was these Russian dancers. These Russian dancers were basically chasing us and running us over. I was scared to death of these huge dancers in pointe shoes who did not care, who, like, it was almost like they couldn't even see us. And so we're like almost running into these dancers, and I am terrified. I'm a 7-year-old little terrified little child. And so I was terrified, and you know what? This is the one thing I remember so clearly. Oh my goodness. So we're backstage for one of the parts, and like I said, this is a 3-minute long dance. So there's a part where we run across the stage with these like little like dee 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 like arms, and and so we're following Prince and Clara. You know, our line of little baby snowflakes is running, you know, after Prince and Clara, basically. I'm pretty sure the spacing went to crap because these professional dancers didn't really have a sense of us little tiny children coming onto the stage. So we hadn't rehearsed with these people. So Prince and Clara were entering in a lift, and so they go into this lift, and I kid you not, the pointe shoe was directly in front of my face. I was literally looking at it cross-eyed. I was so shocked that I started crying. That was definitely the scariest moment, and that was definitely a big struggle, was these gigantic professional dancers who knew what they were doing but didn't exactly have a sense or care even for us little tiny children. As a snow maiden, it doesn't even get that much better. So this dance had like, I think it had 19 or 20 people in this dance, maybe more, maybe less, I don't know, but it felt like there was like 30 people in this dance. And then when you added like people in rehearsals and stuff, I mean, it was ridiculous. So the struggle with being a snow maiden was plastic snow. So basically it's like shredded plastic bags is really what the snow is made out of. I mean, it's literally shredded plastic. And we're throwing it in the air. It's falling down from, the top of the theater. I don't know what they hold that snow in. You're doing all these crazy moves. You're breathing super hard, and you breathe so hard that the snow starts going into you. Like, your breath carries the snow up your nose, into your throat. And there was one time this girl completely like threw snow in my face. Like, it wasn't on purpose, but like, as we were throwing snow, it was the first 2 people were throwing snow in this certain part of the dance. And she doesn't throw it out, she throws it back and in my face, and I take a deep breath and I inhale basically all of it, like it disappears. And I was coughing, I was wheezing, I was basically panicking on stage because I had so much snow in my, fake snow in my nostrils and in my mouth and in my throat that I couldn't breathe. So I go off stage, I'm like blowing my nose, I'm coughing, I'm wheezing. 2 months, like after that, I think after that week of Nutcracker, I got, not bronchitis, but like it sounded like I had bronchitis, good lord. But I got really sick and I was coughing up snow for the next 3 months. So a tip, if you are a snow maiden, don't inhale when they throw snow, exhale. And when you come on stage, you go, and then when you're going on stage, you release it so that you don't get snow in your lungs, like I did. Being a Garland wasn't actually that bad. It was actually kind of fun, and the dance was really easy. The problem was we had so much space to cover because the stage was huge. So that was a problem when we had like 3 steps to get like halfway across the stage. So that was a struggle. And the second thing, the Garlands were so heavy. Some of them were really light, and everyone always were vying for the light ones. But some of them were so heavy that it literally felt like you were lifting weights. And it was ridiculous. I was like dancing with these things and I'm like falling backwards because these Garlands are so heavy. And so I was always that one that just took it for the team. And I was like, you know what? I'll take a heavy one. Everyone else, you can have a light one, whatever. And so I would take that one like massively heavy one. And yeah, I mean, I still did it and I was still really good at it. So I mean, but yeah, that was a struggle. And then being a lead Garland, our costume was completely different from the regular Garlands. So basically, as a lead Garland, you had the same problems with the props and stuff, but then, I was always so scared that I was going to mess up, and this was as close as I had to a solo, but it was actually a duet. Like, our lead Garland dance was like a duet, and so you had to be in sync with each other, you had to be on time, you have to do the same steps, and I was so scared that I was going to like screw up or something like that. But then on top of that, the costumes were completely different from the other ones, and so these costumes did not fit at all. I had so many costume issues. I think the only costume that ever fit me in those 3 years of doing Nutcracker was my baby snowflake and my snow maiden costume. The rest of them did not fit whatsoever. They were falling down and they were like baggy in certain areas. And because, I'm just gonna get real with you here, I don't care who's watching this, I have small boobs, okay? So my boobs do not fill out anything. I have to wear push-up bras to make it fill out areas, and so I'm literally like in this costume and it is bagging up, and it is so like if I bent over you could see through my like into like my costume. And so this costume is massively large, not to mention it's a corset, so a really ill-fitting corset is just gonna move around. And I was just like praying. I was like, Lord, please let me not flash anybody, any of these shows. That would just be great. So I had a lot of costume issues with this performance. And then the thing was, this was the funny thing, is that you couldn't have your straps out, so your leotard straps. You were literally, like, you pinned your white leotard to the corset that didn't fit. And so I was just like, that was a pain in the butt. Like, I hated that costume. And I felt like I was drowning in it, and I felt like I was gonna like slip out of it or something. It was really bad. With Arabian Harem, that was definitely my favorite dance in the Nutcracker. Again, however, the costume did not fit. And so with the Arabian Harem, you have these pants that are like basically made out of chiffon. They're completely sheer. You have briefs on underneath and stuff, but you can't wear tights with these pants, and so otherwise you see it. So Arabian Harem, you're basically wearing like a bra, like crop top, and like sheer chiffon pants. The thing is that my ribs are much bigger than, like I said earlier, my boobs are very small. So my rib cage is so much wider, and so when I was breathing, because you're exposed, like your stomach is out. So we're trying to make sure that we are pulled up, that our stomachs are looking good. Like we put makeup on our stomachs. I mean, like we did everything. And so you're trying not to look like you're breathing super heavy, otherwise your ribs are just gonna pop out. So I'm breathing, you know, doing one of my yoga breath exercises as I'm on stage, because this dance is pretty easy and it was really fun. It's just like a lot of formations, and like there's like, it's kind of like a magic trick show, so it was like more mentally hard than it was physically. But yeah, so I'm breathing, and all of a sudden the back, like one of the back hooks and eyes pops off, and it's the bottom one that's holding pretty much the whole costume together. That's the only part that fit, and that was the only way I was able to like not like have a show and like have the costume sliding around. And so, and how many of you know you don't want your crop top or your bra top to be sliding around? That's just not good. The costume pops, basically, and I am praying because it could rise up and you could see everything, because you can't wear a bra with this costume. You can't wear anything with this costume. So it's like you're wearing this costume. That's all you're wearing. And so I was just like, God, please let me not flash this entire place. My family, my friends that are here, like please let them not see anything. Thankfully, I made it through the rest of the dance without my costume slipping off, but once I got off stage, I mean, that thing like went up. So I was like, hey guys, you know, and when you're dancers, here's the thing, when you're dancers, you get used to seeing each other's bodies all the time because you're in a leotard and tights. And so, you know, the boys are in leotards and tights and the girls are in leotards and tights, basically. So moving on to flowers, which is the last part of the story, we had a 1 minute quick change from Arabian into flowers. We had 1 minute. We had 1 minute to take off this Arabian costume, put on tights, put on a leotard, put on pointe shoes, put on a skirt, and put on corset. It's like 6 pieces to your costume. And tying your pointe shoes, we would always practice, like in between rehearsals, like in between dances, we would practice and time ourselves, like how fast can we actually go. I actually was able to get it in 45 seconds, so that was good, but still, that's majority of the 1 minute 30 seconds. So I am rushing to get this costume on. I put my costume in the wrong dressing room. I put it in the boys' dressing room, so I come in, the boys are changing, like the boys are topless, and I'm like, oops, and I was like, just turn around, we'll all turn around, nobody will see anything. So they're changing costumes, I'm changing my costume, I have to go from Arabian, where it's just no bra, no nothing, and, you know, I'm just changing in the boys' dressing room, because I'm like, you know what, I'm here, the girls' dressing room is on the other side, I don't want to deal with this. People are like, where is Sung, where is Sung, where is Sung, and and I literally, as our music starts, like as our cue is on, I am running to the wing, and I come out and do my dance, and I'm smiling, even though my ribs are hurting so bad, and I'm just like, oh, I made it. And so that first part of the flowers dance is actually really easy. It was like step up, kneel down, curtsy to the rose, and then go back off stage. So I actually got a moment to breathe. But that was the most stressful thing ever. So like basically the Nutcracker, and like can we just talk about the Nutcracker story for a second? The Nutcracker story has no relevance after Act 2. Like, or no, after Act 1. After Act 1, there's no relevance to the story. You're like, why is there Spanish, and what are the, like, Spanish chocolate, Spanish coffee, or like whatever, Arabian coffee, flower, and then you have the flowers and the rose, and then you have Sugar Plum Fairy, and then you have, you know, the Chinese, I think it's Chinese tea in certain versions. I mean, every single version is different, but the same constant for Nutcracker is always like, oh, that's nice. We're just gonna put on point shoes and dance for you since we got nothing better to do. So that's literally Nutcracker. So yeah, the fun parts were really basically just being miserable together. And then we also, like, in the dressing rooms, our dressing rooms got super crazy sometimes. So 2013 was definitely my favorite year of being in a dressing room because I was with all of my friends and we had so much fun. The year after that, I wasn't with my friends. I was in the opposite side and I just was like, you know, like I felt kind of awkward because I wasn't in that group. So I felt like I was missing like something, and so I would always like go out and help, you know, with the costumes or the stage props or whatever. I think the funnest part was literally like we would be at the theater until almost midnight and we were just so delirious, so exhausted. We were all so done. We were like, just kill us, stick a fork in us, like do something because we're done. But it was always the late night cuddles and the, you know, the stress and like, I don't know, like somehow we got high off of the stress and the anxiety we all had about everything going on. I mean, it's just such a weird way to describe it. And so, but we really found like the fun parts of this ballet in each other, and I think that was really special. I don't miss the stress, but I miss the high that you got after a performance. And so, yeah, I just loved it. And so, yeah, that is Nutcracker story time. If you guys want to hear, like, other, like, dance-related, like, funny stories or horror stories or even, like, good experiences, please let me know. I will definitely do one, and maybe I'll even get some of my friends to do them with me, because that would just be so much fun. And I have one person in particular that I want to do a pas de deux horrors and, you know, maybe, you know, like the fun parts in the horrors and maybe a reaction to pas de deux. I have somebody I want to do that with, but I'm just waiting on timing and I'm trying to figure out when we can do it because he lives in LA, I live here in Bakersfield, so it's, you know, an hour and a half drive, but, you know, we'll figure it out. So if you want to see that, be sure to like this video so I know, and then also leave that down in the comment section. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I am doing 24 days of Christmas. There will be a video every single day until December 24th. So yeah, I love you guys so much, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Mwah. Bye!